Hello, everyone. Welcome to the PlantPredict webinar. My name is Jatin Khanna. Thank you for joining us today. We're really excited to share this next step in PlantPredict's evolution. I've been working at First Solar the last 6 years, doing business development and supporting the PlantPredict team in terms of marketing and development, and this is a really exciting day for us, a really new direction. So today we're going to be doing this webinar via GoToWebinar. You should be able to hear me right now and see the screen with the PlantPredict Premium start slide. We're going to be recording this session, so we will send out a link afterwards. If you have any questions or issues, please use the chat or questions feature of the GoToWebinar platform, and we will be compiling those questions. We'll make sure to leave some time at the end for Q&A. So quick agenda. I'm going to hand it over to David Spieldener, the PlantPredict product manager. He's going to be doing a brief presentation overview of the new PlantPredict Premium platform, some of the new features we've released, as well as the pricing plan. And then he's going to do a demonstration of both the basic and premium features. We're going to have some poll questions, so just be ready to answer those. We're going to use those to get a better idea of who's in the audience today. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to David.
Thanks, Jatin. And thank you, everybody, for joining. We're really excited about today. It's something we've been planning for over a month. And so just really excited that it's finally here. We're excited to share what we have with you, and we're also really excited to get your feedback. So little introductory information about myself. So I have a little over 22 years of experience in the world of software development and information technology. 14 of those years have been spent with First Solar. I started back in 2006 with the manufacturing execution systems team, and was actually responsible for the build out of our MES system for about 4 years. That much of that is still in use today, building our manufacturing, our solar panels. But 9 years ago, I moved out to Arizona and became the senior manager of IT at our construction division, and helped build out our construction information system landscape. And it was during that time that I really developed a love for the solar development process. Working with solar developers and then working with EPC and also with O&M became something that I just became really excited about. And so that eventually led to me being offered and accepting the product manager role back in December of last year. So it's been a little over 9 months at this point that I've been the product manager. And really from the very beginning, we've been looking forward to PlantPredict Premium as part of the plan for me in that role. And so on September 1st, we launched PlantPredict Premium. It was a very exciting time and something that we've been working on for a long time. You know, I'm passionate about renewable energy revolutions. I think most of the attendees here are. We are in the midst of the fourth industrial revolution, and I'm so grateful to be able to be playing a role in that. And especially, I'm excited about the role that software can play. So I feel like the renewable world has a lot of opportunity when it comes to software in the form of optimization and really driving that cost of utility scale solar down so that it can be the most effective power source on the planet. So for any of you who are brand new to PlantPredict, what is PlantPredict? PlantPredict is a platform, and it's intended to be a platform that solar developers can use to, first off, get a good PV solar model, or energy model. That's in its heart and soul. That's the core of what it does. We've been working on it now for 8 years, so it's actually been used for a long time. And in that time, we've learned a lot, and we've fixed a lot of bugs, and we've built the tool out. So it's just a tool that we think is going to be a platform that we can build upon for the future. Something that's really important about it is it's designed for utility scale solar, and that's important because we did that from the very beginning. We created it as a utility scale solar product because there's a lot of software out there that is actually designed for the residential and small commercial and industrial that is really good, but it just won't scale. It won't do the 10, 20, 100, 500 megawatt power plants that you need in utility scale. So PlantPredict was designed with utility scale in mind, so it scales really well. When we set out to create PlantPredict, we wanted to create the type of software that we would enjoy using as for ourselves. And we knew that there were some issues with some legacy software that's on the market. So we built it in the cloud, and we designed it cloud first as well. What that does is it allows us to create a user interface that's both easier and faster for our users. And then we're trying to build it to be the most capable solar development tool that's out there. And you're going to see that as we roll out some of the new features we have in mind for PlantPredict Premium. So it's a very capable tool. It does more than just solar modeling. We want it to become the platform that can do everything from layout all the way through to financial modeling. Last but definitely not least, it's accurate and it's bankable. And I say this knowing that that's very important to most of you. We've engaged with independent engineers to check the tool for accuracy, and we have a white paper as well as several independent engineering opinions based upon that white paper available inside the tool. So when you register, you can read through that if you want to understand the accuracy. But furthermore, we constantly are testing this tool against actual power plant production. First Solar has a large O&M business, so we actually use PlantPredict to do as-built models for those power plants, and then we check it against actuals. And what that does is it gives us two benefits. One thing is we can see if there's any problems with the power plant that's actually performing. And the other benefit that's not an intentional benefit, but something we get is we're constantly testing our algorithms through that process. And it's been used in over 3 gigawatts of contracted PPAs and EPC agreements. So we do have banks that have actually used PlantPredict as the prediction of record for those contracts. All right, so but the big thing we're talking about today is PlantPredict Premium. So this slide here gives a breakdown of the premium packages that we're going to offer. First off, we still are going to offer PlantPredict Basic. PlantPredict has always been a free tool, and we always intend it to have a free component. We want somebody to be able to experience what we mean when we say solar modeling made simple without having to pay a penny. And the basic version of PlantPredict definitely allows that. Several of you, I'm sure, are using the basic now, and I think that you can attest to you can run predictions with the basic model. That is not a problem. Now, the 4 packages that we're offering for premium, first off, we have the individual. The individual package is designed exactly as it's stated. You get 1 license. And you can see here we're offering some introductory pricing. We did that in order to try to take the thousands of PlantPredict customers and users that we've had over the years and try to make it as easy as possible for them to migrate into the premium product. So we're offering an introductory pricing that's good for the remainder of this year. So it expires on December 31st of 2020. So on January 21st, we're going to go back to our standard list pricing. But for now, the individual package is $75 a month if you're going to be wanting to pay for this on a pay-as-you-go plan, or you can buy the full year in an annual prepay version at $750, which that gives you 2 free months over just the pay-as-you-go plan. And it gets you 1 license. If you are part of a small company and you want more than just 1 license, we have a professional package. The professional package brings with it 3 licenses, and you can see the professional package is cheaper than if you bought 3 individual licenses. So you're getting a little bit of a discount there. And you can maximize that discount if you get the professional package and you pay in the annual prepay mode. You just get the maximum benefit. And both of these plans are designed around credit card style transactions. So you can just provide your credit card on our checkout screen, get signed up, and you're off and running. No PO, no invoice. It works like that. Now with professional, you'll see that's the first plan that actually gets access to our API, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. Very powerful feature within PlantPredict is we expose our prediction API. And we allow people to write Python script and call that API and automate some of their prediction running. With a professional package, you get 100 free API predictions a month, and then we'll just charge you 10 cents per prediction after that. It helps us shift a little bit of our cost burden because each of those predictions are costing us. So That's how we got that set up. Enterprise is for the larger companies. If you have more than 3 users within your company, we can work out an enterprise deal for you. We don't publish a price for enterprise because it's all going to be negotiable. The more users you need, the less you're going to pay on a per user basis. And with enterprise, we do give you 1,000 free API predictions a month as opposed to the professional at 100. So that's just a little extra bonus that you get with enterprise. So if you are interested in an enterprise package, definitely email us and we'll talk to you. And last, we have our education plan. So if you are here representing a university or if you're a student and you're interested in using PlantPredict, let us know. We can hook you up with an education license and we can get you all set up. We definitely want to support our academic institutions and our students and our teachers. That's really important to us. All right. So with that, Jutin, I'm going to hand it back over to you for our first poll question.
Sounds good. So I'm going to be launching a poll to just get a little gauge of the audience today. So the question is, how experienced are you with PlantPredict? So we'll give everyone around 10 seconds. We have 4 different options here. And this is really just to get an idea of who we have in the audience, how familiar you are. We do have some older intro webinars that you can see in our press and events page. We'll link to that later. But the goal of today is really to review PlantPredict Premium and those features. So I'm going to give everyone a couple more seconds. All right, I'm going to close and share the results here. So it looks like we got a pretty good mix today. So 30% have used for years, and then 20% have used a few times, and it looks like half of people have either just logged in or never even used it. So this is great. We will we'll definitely take that to note. David's going to go through some of the basic features, and like I said, we do have some older webinars that we can link to later. So I'm going to hand it back to David, who's going to start with our demonstration.
All right. Yeah, 40%. Never used it before. Thank you for joining. Welcome. All right. First off, if you're brand new to PlantPredict, a good place to start is our website, plantpredict.com, www.plantpredict.com. We offer the PlantPredict Premium webpage has all the information that I just went over in the PowerPoint. In fact, this table looks exactly like the table that I showed you. The spacing's not exactly the same, but it has our pricing. So this is a good place to go to see what kind of packages we have available. We also have online a user manual. This is really good if you are new to PlantPredict. You can actually come in and learn a lot about what the tool does just by reading through the user manual. We also publish our models and algorithms. This is very important to us. We often talk about it being open source in that we are very transparent about how we do our calculations. So if you have any questions about how we come up with our energy predictions, odds are you'll be able to get those questions answered inside our models and algorithms portion of our website. PlantPredict API, this for the professional and enterprise customers, you get access to the API. So this webpage has our API starter kit and our API developer guide, very handy tools for getting up and running on our API. We also have a Python SDK that you can download. If you have the Anaconda distribution, you can download that, and it simplifies interacting with our API a little bit. We offer release notes, press and events, and last, we have a contact screen. If you have any questions outside of this webinar, this is a great way to interact with us. Fill out the contact information, send it in to us. We have technicians that are monitoring our queue on a 24-hour basis, and we will be getting back to you. This is also a way that you can log any support questions that you have, or you can just email support@PlantPredict. Those are a few of the ways that you can get in touch with us. Now, if you've never used PlantPredict before, we make the registration very easy. You just click the orange register button, fill out this bare minimum bit of information, and then hit submit registration. What that'll do is it'll send you an email. So whatever email address you put in here, you will get an email to that email address. And inside that email is a link that you need to click on where you'll set up your password, and boom, you're into PlantPredict Basic. It's that easy, totally free. Now, if you submit this registration and you don't actually get an email in your inbox, go to that contact us form, contact us, let us know. What we've seen is some spam filtering systems will filter out our registration email, and we have ways that we can get you the link that you need to set up your password outside of this process. So please, if you don't get the registration email, contact us. We don't want that to be the reason why you don't use PlantPredict. All right. With that being said, it's time to demo. I'm going to log in. And to begin with, I'm logging in as a basic user. All right, so this is PlantPredict. And if you're new to PlantPredict, this is, after you register, this is what you would see. I have, by default, I go into the project library and I have no projects. So that's very typical. We have a link to our user manual if you need that help getting started. But since you're here at the webinar, I think you guys will be really well equipped to get started after this webinar is complete. We also have our component libraries. We have a weather library, an inverter library, and a module library. Now I'm showing you as a basic user what module, inverter, and weather files you get for free just as part of the tool. These are what we refer to as global weather files or global module files. So when they're global, they're available to everybody. Basic, premium, it doesn't matter. And we have over 1,000 of our module and inverter files. In fact, we have an effort underway right now to do a update to make sure that we have the latest and greatest of module and inverter files. Now, when you're looking at weather files, we have both paid weather providers and free weather providers. So you see Solar GIS, Meteonorm, NASA. Now, the paid weather providers in here have given PlantPredict basic users a special 10-use license to their weather data. So you can use any of these global weather files up to 10 times. And then if you use one weather file and then another weather file, that's 2 uses. So it's pretty limited, but at least gives you a chance to experience their weather data if you want to check it out. You get 10 apiece. So you could use 10 Solar GIS, 10 Meteonorm, and 10 for clean power research. We do, though, offer one-click download for our free weather sources. So we have NASA and we have the NSRDB. I'm looking for NSRDB. Believe me, they are in here. So you can always download a weather file from NASA or NSRDB and get free weather data for your prediction as a basic user. Oh, that's right. You can't do it as a basic user. So creating new weather files, creating new inverters, and creating new modules is something that is reserved only for our premium subscribers. So you can use our global weather files, but you can't actually import or download your own. Definitely a reason why you might want to upgrade to premium. That feature alone, I think, is worth the money. Now, if you encounter this screen, in order to upgrade, all you have to do is click this Learn More button, and it's going to take you to the subscription options screen. So another way that you can get there is you can click the subscription window over here on our navigation bar, and it'll take you here. So you can see we have our premium. That's also what I refer to as individual, our professional, and our enterprise. So once you identify the package that you're interested in, all you do is click whether you want the monthly or the annual, and you click on that, and it'll take you to the checkout screen where you can put in your credit card information, subscribe, and just that fast, you will be upgraded to the premium version. All right. Another thing I just want to highlight to you guys is under resources, as a basic subscriber, you get access to these resources. So here is our white paper on the accuracy of PlantPredict and also our independent engineering reviews of that. And also easy links to our user manual, our algorithms, our terms of use, our legal notices, and also our release history. All right, well, now we're going to jump into PlantPredict Premium, but before we do that, I'm going to hand the ball back over to Jutin, who is going to do another poll.
Thank you, David. So now poll number 2. Now that we've given you a brief overview, this is what features are most needed in utility scale software. So just a quick reminder, you have to use the panel on the right to answer the poll. You can't actually click on the screen. So looks like we're getting a few answers. I'm going to wait maybe 5 more seconds to let everyone share. And really, thank you for your feedback because we use this in our future development. So this is actually very important to us. So I'm going to give everyone 2 more seconds, and we're still getting a few more. I'm going to close it now. And now I'm going to share the results. So we'll see, we got a pretty good mix. More accurate predictions, definitely an important one, better layout tools, and then all of the above. So yeah, it looks like all this stuff is important. And you know, later David will share some roadmap, but I think first we're going to get into the demo of what we have today. I think that's most important. And maybe in the Q&A, we'll share some of the roadmap. So I'm going to hand it back to David.
All right, well, I definitely feel it's all of the above. So that's my vote. So really appreciate you guys giving us some feedback. All right, so here I am in PlantPredict, but now I'm logged in as a premium. The way that I know that I'm in as a premium, if I click on my subscription panel, you notice it's a little bit different. So my current subscription level is I'm a professional user, and I get it until 2030. I guess there's privileges of being the product manager. You can also view or change your payment information. So you can view your billing history or change your payment information. If you want to cancel or change your subscription, you can contact us and we'll help you through that. You can view the release history, user manual, models and algorithms, all that is available on the subscription page. Okay, so now let's get started in creating a project. All right, you can create a project one of 2 ways. You can either create a project, I'm just going to call it project, and you can type in a location, like I'm going to say Indio, California, and it's going to jump you right to Indio, California, and you can move forward in that way. An alternative is you can use the import project, and that's the way that I'm going to use today. This is actually a new feature we just rolled out, is you can create your project starting from a KMZ file. So I'm going to import from a KMZ file. We also have this import from PPP. This is pretty cool. This is a proprietary PlantPredict project file format. So if you're working with a colleague and they are in another company, they can actually share their project with you by exporting their PlantPredict project, and you can import it. So that's kind of cool. But I'm going to start with a KMZ file. I click on that, select the boundary that my customer has sent me, and now I'm going to hit the Save New Project, and just like that, I'm in here. All right, so the project name came from the KMZ. If you want to rename your project, you can click Rename. I'm going to rename this Sunburn Solar because we are in the desert Southwest. Country code is required. Actually, let me demonstrate that. That is a slight issue, and also something that I can talk through. So that red error bar that you saw there, that's how we communicate errors and alerts to you, is right at the very top of the screen. The yellow ones, which I'm going to show you here in a second, will indicate that there's an alert. The red ones mean there's an actual error. So there, I just full transparency, that is a bug that is ready to be fixed in this current release, is the rename inside the project folder is not actually working. So what the project is it's actually like a folder. It's a folder for your predictions. And you saw when I went back to the project library, I saw 2 projects in there. When I click on Sunburn Solar, I come into the project library. And inside this folder, we have our predictions. So now I'm going to create a new prediction. We'll call this a map builder. And I'm going to build this project on the map. Most of the functionality that we've released here recently has been to improve the layout capabilities. So I was glad to see that a lot of people feel like we need better layout tools because the map builder functionality within PlantPredict is a very sophisticated layout capability. And I'm going to demonstrate that for you today. Now, we believe in solar modeling made simple. So in order to create a full prediction, you really only need to provide 3 pieces of information: weather information, your power plant design, and your model choices, and you can be off and running. That's a very simple process, and I'm going to show that to you today. So under weather files, you can come in here. I've got to select a weather file. Now you can see what we do is we bring up all the weather files, the global weather files, and if you've downloaded or created some new weather files, I'm going to show you, I'm going to click the add new weather. And this takes you to the weather screen. Once again, only available for premium customers. Here's our weather vendors and also our free weather providers. You just simply click a button and it's going to automatically download that data to you for use in your prediction. Now, it does take a little bit of time, maybe a couple minutes, so I'm not going to do that today just for sake of time. What I'm going to do is, I clicked the wrong button there. Bear with me. I'm just going to select the very first weather file, that NASA weather file, and save the selection. There's the yellow alert. Once again, this is just an alert letting you know that the start and end date of the prediction have been adjusted to match the weather file. All right, so now I'll click this dismiss and save and close. And now my weather file is locked in for that prediction. If you ever want to change it, you just go back in and update it, and you can select another weather file. Very easy. But at this point, our weather data is locked in. Now we're going to go into building the power plant using the map builder. All right. So very first thing you're going to notice is we are zoomed in on the map to the location of that KMZ file. But the KMZ boundary is not actually displayed here. In order to get that, what I have to do is use this upload data link up here, which is going to give me the option to upload KMZ data or DEM data. So we do support LiDAR topographical data in two DEM formats, the DEM extension and also the TIFF extension. So if you have topographical data for your site, you can actually upload that and use it in our topographical analysis. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to upload my KMZ file. And you can see I've got my customer defined boundary laid out there. Another very powerful way to get a boundary for your project is you can use our parcel database. So we have a API connection to a parcel database, and you can see we have parcels automatically brought into the map. So if you wanted to use parcel data for your boundary, you just click on the parcel that you're interested in. We give you a little bit of information, including the owner of the parcel. And then you can just click this create site boundary and it'll automatically create the site boundary for you. You can see how easy that was. Now I'm going to delete that because that's not the parcel I'm working on. I'm actually working in this is government land right here that I'm working in. So that's where I'm going to focus on designing my power plant. Now to go from the map overlay view back to the parameters view, you click these icons here. So I'm going to click on the parameter to get back to the power plant parameters, and this is the overlay. So just to show you how you can navigate back and forth to there. Now I'm going to select an inverter. I have a central inverter lined up for this demo. It's a 2.5 megawatt central inverter. And now I'm going to select a module. You can search for any of the modules in the module library. I'm going to look for a First Solar Series 6 450 module. You can search for it. You don't have to just use First Solar. We also have many other manufacturers, Canadian, SunPower, many other manufacturers in there, but I'm going to use First Solar today. You put in what your desired power plant size is. I'm shooting for a 20 megawatt AC power plant. Then you specify your ground coverage ratio. I'm looking for a 40% GCR. You can approach this one of two ways. You can put in the ground coverage ratio and we'll automatically calculate the row spacing for the design parameters that you've selected. Or you can put in the row spacing and we'll back calculate the ground coverage ratio. So I'm actually looking to create a horizontal tracker design. So when I change that, my module's high automatically adjusts, and you can see my row spacing shifted on me. So it went down to a 40% ground coverage ratio for a horizontal tracker that's 1 by 20 wide. Another thing is, depending on the module that you select, we calculate using the temperature data for this location what an optimal string size should be. And you can see here we're telling you that for the First Solar Series 6, an optimal string size in this location is 6 modules. So your modules wide needs to be divisible into that number. So I'm going to make this a 1 by 24 horizontal tracker. All right. Leaving the rest of the values at just default selection, I'm going to click Update DC Capacity, and you can see we automatically fill in this boundary with DC. We're able to fit 22 megawatts AC, 23 megawatts DC, more than enough for my desired amount that we're looking for. Another thing that I just want to highlight, we have two views. We have the terrain view, which is what you're seeing right now, and we also offer a satellite view so that you can see actual Google Earth map data around your site, so you can get a little bit of a visual as to where you are and what you're dealing with. You can see this is a very deserty area. Jumping back over to my map overlays, it's one thing to know exactly how much DC you can fit into a boundary, but the real trick of this is understanding what kind of constraints you have to work around. So we offer a couple map overlay layers that will help you in understanding what kind of constraints you have to deal with. First one is the wetland vector data. So this is coming in from United States Fish and Wildlife Service, and you can see the wetland data around this site. All you have to do is click on one of these riverines that are flowing through this area and click the All Constraints button, and we will automatically create the constraints for you so that you can then rerun your DC flood. Click Update DC Capacity, and now your design is mapped out around those constraints. You can see now we're down to 19.25 megawatts AC, so it's a little bit under my target of 20 megawatts, but it's at least a little more realistic. In addition to these automatic constraints, you can also draw constraints. So I'm going to draw your attention over here to the palette, the Map Builder palette. Here you have tools like Draw Site Boundary. So if you don't have a KMZ file, or if you don't have the parcel that you're looking for, you can always just draw a boundary using the pencil here. You can also draw constraints. So this is create linear constraint and create area constraint. So a linear constraint, a good example of that, I'm going to use that. We're going to draw a transmission line crossing over my site. So you can see I clicked on that. Now we have a linear constraint flowing through here. Now if I click on that, the constraint palette comes up over here. I'm going to give this a name, transmission line. You can see when I type that, it automatically appears on my map. You can adjust your setback so that you can adjust how far away from this transmission line you can put your panels. And you can also adjust the color. So I'm going to set this to red because I like the color red for transmission lines. And now when I click off of my transmission line constraint, you can see it's red. Now I'll click Update DC Capacity. Now my design is now taking that transmission line constraint into consideration. Close out your constraint view by clicking that. Now I'm back to my parameter view. Now, if I want to do an area constraint, like I want to put a substation in this design down here in the southeast corner. So I click the area constraint, and then I click on each of the corners and double click to end it, and we create an area constraint. If I click on that, I'm going to give it a label of substation and then close that out. So now you can see we have a transmission line constraint and a substation constraint built in here, and we're down to about 16.5. So all of a sudden it's starting to get a little bit harder to hit my target. But that's the reality of solar development, and that's one of the reasons why it's important to have a layout and understand what your constraints are and how that impacts your design. All right, now the next thing that I'm going to show you is something we're really excited about, something we just rolled out last month, and something that is very powerful is our 3D site view and topographical analysis capabilities. So I click the 3D view button up there, and this is only available if I have a flooded layout on my map builder screen. And what we're doing here is we're pulling in elevation points for this entire area automatically from the cloud, and we're creating a 3D model. So I'm going to open this up into full screen view. And what you're seeing here is my power plant in 3D. It's in wireframe mode. So each of these lines are intersecting with the elevation points that we brought in. So you can see we create a 10 with these elevation points by drawing lines, and then we're able to analyze the slope of those tens. I'm going to turn off the wireframe, and you can see this thing looks like it has mumps. What we're showing you here is our default topographical analysis, which is terrain slope constraints. So anywhere that one of these tens has a slope greater than 6%, you're going to get a red blotch. Watch what happens when I increase the tolerance. So I'm going to go up to like 9. The blotches disappear quite a bit. So that gives you a way that you can understand how hilly, in this case, we have some ravines, but how hilly and what kind of topographical issues you're going to have on this site. All right. Another analysis that we offer is the terrain slope banding. So I'm going to now select the terrain slope banding. This is a very colorful way to look at the site. What we do in this mode is we take every one of our tens and we give it a color depending upon the slope that it has. So the hotter colors are higher slope and the cooler colors are lower slope. So this just gives you just another very colorful way to look at your site. Another view we have is table slope. So here we're not caring about the ground slope, we're just caring about the table slope. So the red tables here are all tables that exceed our 6-degree slope tolerance. So I can once again change this and it updates automatically right in the browser window. So then I can understand if our tracker vendor has some sort of a tolerance there as to how much slope your tracker table can be on, you can analyze that with the table slopes constraint tool. And the last topographical analysis tool that we have is our post height analysis. This is a very cool, very powerful feature. What we do is we take the data that we have about the topography and we analyze the distance between the tracker table itself and the ground beneath the tracker table. And if you exceed these two tolerances, so if you have more space than 5 feet between your tracker table and the ground, or less than 3 feet between the tracker table and the ground, we're going to put a dot over top of where that post should be. So you can see here we have a little valley here, and these green dots are telling me that we are over our post height tolerance. Then we have a little hill over here, and these red dots are telling me that we're under our minimum post height tolerance. So it's a very colorful way to see the undulations underneath my tracker tables, all very quick, all very easy. Now I'm going to close out of here and show you all of this topographical analysis that we've been doing is then overlaid onto our 2D view of our design. And this is a really great way to look at it. So first off, our slope constraints. So all of those areas where the ground slope is greater than 6% is represented by these red triangles. I can turn that on and turn that off right here. See where it says slope constraints? I can turn that off and turn that on. So I'm going to turn it off for now. Another thing I can do is I can turn off my DC. Now this doesn't remove it from my design. It's still there, just we've hidden the layer of DC so that I can better look at the topographical data that I've accumulated. Right now, the post analysis is visible. And if I click this little plus next to post analysis, we do give you a legend. So the red is telling me that we've got to cut that area, and the green is telling me we have to fill that area. And you say cut fill, don't tell me you got a cut fill tool in here. Well, we do. So we've rolled out just this month the cut fill analysis capability. It's over here on our palette. It's this little icon here. When you click on that, you can actually create an area that you want to grade. You can see I'm grading right around my substation, and I'm going to come up here and right around our riverine and double click to finish it. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a grading analysis in this area. We're going to find out how much dirt we got to move to cut these hills and fill these valleys. And so watch what happens when I hit the 3D site view. What's happening now is we're pulling in once again that elevation data, and we're overlaying that elevation data with this grading plan, and we're grading that area, cutting and filling appropriately. And now watch what happens when I do my post height analysis. My post height analysis just removed all of those issues. Actually, it just moved them a little bit because we still have issues getting from the natural terrain to our graded terrain, so that we'll have to deal with. But but you can see how quickly we were able to do that grading analysis. Now, when I close this out, that grading doesn't come for free. Down here, we tell you what it's going to take under our cut fill data tab. Check this out. We're going to have to cut 51,000 cubic yards of dirt. Then we're going to have to fill 74,000 cubic yards of dirt, meaning we're going to need an extra 22,000 cubic yards of dirt to execute this grading plan in this area. So you could take that information, plug it into an Excel model where you have your grading costs and come up with a really quick indicative grading analysis. Very powerful if you're trying to do some early stage prospecting and understanding of your the different sites that you're looking at. You can get all of that very quickly and very easily. All right, so now I'm going to turn back on my DC flood data, and I want to show you our downloadable layout document, the PLP 1000, something we just rolled out. Now that I've got my layout the way that I want it, and I've done my cut fill analysis, now I need to share my layout with some of my colleagues. You can do that with the PLP 1000. You can see here what we're doing is we're giving you a chance where you can adjust your map and select what you want to show up in the image. You can also turn on and turn off different layers. You can see I can show my constraint offset, can show my setback. And this is just for the document. I can show or I can hide my constraints. I can also put in some details, like if I'm creating this as a contractor and the developer that I'm working for is David Solar, I can put David Solar's name in the project developer field. I can update this name and make it whatever I want. My design name, I can make it whatever I want. I can even put whatever I want for the megawatt capacity. You don't have to necessarily use exactly what's in there, and that sometimes can be useful if you have a scenario where you're going to need to do that. And you can also offer a redacted version, which hides a lot of the important information. Once you get that all set up, you hit download PLP 1000. We take all that information, we take the image, we take what you've entered in here, bundle it all together, put it into a PDF document, and present it to you down here in the bottom of the window. You click on that, and here's your PLP 1000. Very handy. The kind of thing that, what we've just done here in the matter of 15 minutes is the kind of work that you would have to get civil engineers involved. You'd have to get drafters involved. You have to do all of that to pull it together in order to get a document like this. We're able to do it in about 15 minutes, which we think is part of this whole solar modeling made simple. So, all right, close out of there. We will close that and then go back here. All right, but as cool as the layout functionality is, it's even cooler when you can take that layout and have it roll right into your energy prediction. So I'm going to save my design as it is right now and then close out of there and come down to my simulation settings. That was the last of the 3 things I have to fill out. I'm going to go with just default values. If you're a professional or a enterprise customer, you can set company defaults, and I'm just going to use my company defaults. But we do have a lot of different model options. Very important that you have all of these capabilities, and we offer you that. Another cool feature that we offer is multi-year predictions. So I can do a multi-year prediction in PlantPredict and actually model different degradation methods over those years, something that not a lot of tools are able to do, something that you can definitely do within PlantPredict. You can do that in PlantPredict Basic, by the way. That's not a premium feature. That is available even in the Basic. Now, a caveat to that is multi-year predictions do take a little bit longer. It would take 20 times as long to run that prediction as it does for a 1-year prediction. So I'm going to save and close that. And we're ready to go. When I click the Run Prediction button, we're going to take all the information from our layout, from our simulation settings, our weather data, pile it together, put it onto a server, and wait for an agent to pick it up and start executing, which it did pretty quickly there. And we're running the prediction. Results are ready to review. I click View Full Results. And here you can see in your screen, you can real quickly analyze. So that power plant is roughly a 16 megawatt power plant, is going to produce 41.8 gigawatt hours of energy in year one. There's your specific yield, your performance ratio. We give you a loss factor tree over here so you can understand where the losses are. We show you the plant net energy on a 24 by 12 grid. So you can see hours of the day, months of the year, real quick, real easy to see where the energy is coming from. This is especially handy when you're doing battery storage modeling. We show you a block view, which is in table format. And we also have some pretty cool charts. My favorite is the hourly chart, where you can scroll through the year using the slider bar at the top and see how the energy changes as you go through the year. Very, very cool, very handy. We also offer you a few different variables to chart in here, like plane of array irradiance, specific yield, performance ratio. I think you get the idea. Now you can also export these results. And this is something, once again, it's available both basic and premium. So once you've got your energy prediction the way that you want it, you can download a plant summary PDF. Now this prediction status warning looks a lot scarier than it is. All we're doing is we're saying, hey, if you're going to create a report, you may want to change the status to make your prediction read only. Because once you produce that report, somebody could go in and change this prediction and it's not going to update the report, obviously. You do also have an option to just download it as a draft. When you do that, you get a draft watermark on the report, but that way it's just clear that what you got going on here could be a draft. If you really want to get rid of that watermark, you just change the status to a read-only status, and then it goes away. But this is a very handy PDF document, once again. Would go really well with the PLP 1000 because you could have your layout and your prediction summary available for your customers. All right. Another view is our project summary 8760. What this is it's very similar to our plant summary PDF. The difference there is it's in Excel, and we also include in this report the full 8760 data. So you get your hourly results for your prediction, and you can see I can scroll down here to row 8,760, and you would have all your hourly results for your prediction, which is handy because you can then copy and paste it into your financial model and move forward into financial modeling. All right. We also offer an inputs and assumptions, a block summary, but you can check those out for yourself. Once again, this is available even in a basic subscription. All right. So we are running short on time. So with that, I'm just going to jump back over here to my prediction and just talk about, we also, for premium subscribers, offer you the ability to enter in time series data. So that's 8,760 records of things like tracker angle, LGIA limits, inverter D rates, those types of things you can put in on an hourly basis. Very powerful for getting the kind of results you want, especially things like tracker angles and stuff like that. And this is also very powerful if you're doing a sub-hourly energy prediction. So we do support sub-hourly weather data. You can do then sub-hourly time series data. Very powerful, very helpful. We also offer energy storage. So if you want to model an energy storage system, if you're a premium subscriber, you can do that with PlantPredict. Very powerful. All right. There's so much to share, so little time to share it. I hope that just in the little time that I was able to go over this with you, you do get an idea of how PlantPredict Premium can make solar modeling simple. And I'm hoping that you're intrigued enough to become a user, and we would love it if you could become a subscriber. But with that, I got to take a breath. I got to hand it back over to Jutin, and we will now open the webinar for questions.
Thank you, David. That was an excellent overview. We've got a ton of questions here, and I apologize, we're not going to be able to get to all of them, but we are writing them down. So we'll try our best to reach out to you after the webinar personally and answer these questions. So the first one is, what topological data source do we use, and can I import my own if I have some?
Yeah, so we use Google Earth. So we've got a contract with Google, and we are able to pull in the Google Earth elevation data. So that answers that question. And yes, we do support the uploading of your own topographical data. So I mentioned that real briefly in the import data screen on the map builder. We support two file formats, DEM and TIFF. TIFF is a little bit easier from a memory standpoint. So we first rolled out DEM, and then we rolled out TIFF a little later. When we start to see larger projects, we definitely need to use TIFF for that file format. But yes, we do support LiDAR topo, and then you can use all the same topographical analysis tools that I demonstrated today with your LiDAR topo data.
Excellent.
Right.
That's great to know. Another question that came in, is the parcel data that you have only available in the US?
Unfortunately it is. We don't have a global partner for parcel data, so but in the event that we can find global parcel data providers, we would love to get that capability outside the US. So yes, that is unfortunately a US only capability.
Well, that's good to know. So can you create constraints based on the slope magnitude?
You absolutely can. And I didn't demonstrate that today. We don't have a very sophisticated, like automated way like we do with the wetland constraints, where you click a wetland and it creates constraints, but you can definitely draw your constraints, and that's how most people do it. So if there's a ravine, you don't want to try to fill that ravine in because it would break the bank and blow your economics. What you can do is draw a constraint around that ravine and then redo the flood, and it'll work fine. We've done that, and it works pretty good. It just is a little bit time consuming, but it definitely does work.
Excellent. Can you upload your own constraints via a KMZ or a shapefile?
Very good question. That is coming out with our next release. So a great leading question. One of the features we're rolling out in the next release, which actually is scheduled to hit production a week from today. So mark your calendars, look forward to it. We will be rolling out a release next Thursday. And one of the features of that release, I'm just going to go in here because there's been a few questions around the upload data. So when you go to upload, you have upload KMZ. In the current version for the next week, this will only accept boundary data. But beginning next Thursday, you can click this button and you'll be able to tell it what type of data you want to upload, whether it's boundary or constraint data. And then you can tell it to append it to the existing layout or not. And so that's a feature that very popular. I may even know the person who's asked the question. There's a few users that I've been interacting with and in collaborating on this feature, and something that I'm really excited to roll out next Thursday. So mark your calendars, look forward to it. We'll be sending out release notes to highlight that, and probably we'll be featuring that in next month's webinar.
Excellent, something to look forward to there. How do I upload or create a module or inverter file? And is that a basic function or is that a premium function?
Yeah, so I'm going to jump into the module library. So creating your own custom module files is a premium feature. So this is a very important feature that may be worth the subscription fee alone, is just having infinite module files because you can create your own. I'm going to show you when you click on the add new module, these are the different options you have. You can either enter just basic data from a data sheet, you can enter your key IV points, or you can enter a full IV curve and have a module file created from that. The other thing you can do is you can use the import module functionality, and you can actually import a module file from PVSYST. So PVSYST has the copy to table functionality. You just use the copy to table and then you paste it in here. And in these additional pieces of information that aren't in the PVSYST copy data, and you can create your module file directly from PVSYST. We also have a PPM file format. So I talked a little bit about PPP, our proprietary PlantPredict project file format. Too many P's there. We also have a PPM file format. So you could share module files between other companies. If you have a customer that's a PlantPredict user and they are modeling a specific module file in their company, they can export that and send it to you, and you can import it through this upload PPM. So those are the ways that you can add modules. And then the same goes with inverters. So when I click this add new inverter, you can either create it from the datasheet, that's the new inverter from scratch, or you can upload a PPI, that's our PlantPredict inverter file format, or you can import from PVSYST. So very important in any modeling tool that you can have infinite number of options, and we definitely support that. And if you have any trouble, this is something else. One of the things I've helped a lot of customers through is they want to create modules. It's a little intimidating the first time, and I get that. And if you have any trouble, just let me know. We will walk you through the process, and we'll help you get your module files that you need imported into the system. But unfortunately, you do have to be a premium subscriber in order to take advantage of that. So, all right.
Excellent. We're running out of time. I'm going to try to squeeze in a couple more questions here. So how do I know if my rows are too close? Can I run a GCR optimization or a batch of runs?
Yes. Yeah. So the way that you know whether your rows are too close is you do have to do a GCR optimization. All right. So I have another project set up in here, Logjam Solar, where I have a batch prediction set up and ready to run. So within PlantPredict, and I don't have enough time to show you how the full batch capability runs, but this is very popular with some of our premium subscribers that have already subscribed, is with the click of a button, you can run up to 350 simulations, and it happens like within a minute. So you can really move fast with PlantPredict. You don't have to deal with any CSV files or anything like that. You can do it all straight up in the user interface. And when you do that, you can look at the results. And what I've got here is I've got a batch prediction that is looking at both DC-AC ratio and ground coverage ratio, and look to find what the optimal GCR and DC-AC ratio is for my project. So what I did in this analysis is I actually looked at a range of GCRs and a range of DC-AC ratios, and the tool ran those simulations for me in about a minute is about what it took to run. And this is over 121 predictions. And then it sorts my predictions over here so that I can see prediction number 41 is actually my optimal prediction. And from there, I can just clone it. And now I'm off and running with the optimal GCR and the optimal DC-AC ratio for this location. And from there, I can just off and run with it. So that's the best way to know what GCR works best, is you just got to run scenarios and you got to analyze it. So having a tool that does that fast is critical.
Excellent. That's a very cool feature as well. Just a last quick question. We have 2 minutes left. Can you do shading analysis? Can I put tree lines and objects?
We can. So I feel like we need to do a webinar on shading alone. And our shading capability is still in beta. So we also have some work to do on that. The way that the shading works right now is if you create just a single DC field, so it's really more for like smaller projects, but it's really a building block. We're going to build this up. You can actually go into, let's see if I come into here, I can show you real quick. Inside the DC field, you can go into the object area, and I kind of jumped a little fast. This is the block builder view. So most of the demonstration today has been showing you the map builder. We also have the block builder capability, which is important and probably deserving of a webinar in its own right. You go into the DC field in your block builder prediction, and you go to your object screen. And it's in here that you're able to add tree lines, buildings, objects that are going to be casting a shadow onto your DC field. From there, we have the algorithms already built. They will take that into account. They understand where the position of the sun is, where the shadow is casting, and it takes that all into account. And so we do some basic object shading. And I'm prefacing that with basic because my vision and where we're going to go with this is a building block because it does it on a DC field basis. And as you can imagine, that design that I was using before had lots of DC fields. And so we have that all in a 3D view, and we have the topography all flowing through there. My vision is that we're going to be able to place objects in that view and have that flow through and use the algorithms that we've created in the object shading capability and do a full power plant object shading analysis. It's going to be really pretty awesome. That's definitely something that's on the roadmap. But for now, you can do just some basic object shading analysis and at least understand what impact a tree row is going to have on my DC field or a building or even transmission lines. You can design those things in here and see it. So, all right.
Excellent. So we are just at time, and thank you so much, David. That was a wonderful demonstration. Really excited about this new direction for PlantPredict. If you do have questions, please email us at support@plantpredict.com or use the contact us page at www.plantpredict.com. We're going to email out the link to this. You'll also see it on our press and events page. Thanks for everyone that asked questions. If we didn't get to your question, again, we'll try to reach out, and please email us at support@plantpredict.com. As I said, we're happy to do a private demonstration for any of these features or any of the things that we didn't cover today. So with that, we're going to close out the webinar. Thanks again for joining.